Yes, my name is Kendrick Moore. I'm the president of Moore Basketball Clinic, and Moore Motivation is one of our entities under that. What I do, I'm heavily involved in the community and giving back. And a big part of what we do is personal development in all of the areas. So from the personal and player development, which is under our training section, from our life coaching and mentoring, our leadership training, and then the motivational speaking, like personal development, we use that as a powerful platform to give back to the community. So very simply to us, like personal development, and I always say this, like personal development is the glue to success, right? So personal development has to do with each individual getting better and improving. So it's not the particular skill that you're doing. It's not you shooting a basketball. It's not you, whether you're working out. It's not you completing the math problems. The personal development that we work on really puts you in a space to be your best at each and everything, right? So when we're going through these different messages, like I said, under the 4 areas that we concentrate on, like those messages that we deliver. So when we're in training, it's not just teaching the skill, it's personal development that goes along with it, because we want to maximize the skill and take it to another level. In all of those areas, whether it's the leadership training, whether I'm developing groups and organizations, and especially with the power of the messages of the motivational speaking, it's to make you better. As I mentioned, it's the glue to success. And I think especially at this time period that we're in, there's so many missing elements, right? Like we went through a tough time, like a few years ago, a space where our social issues were challenged, right? Our ability to socialize, our ability to communicate was challenged, which is huge. I think before that, we kind of took communication for granted. We kind of took relationships for granted. We kind of took the importance of maintaining our values for granted. So at this time, like personal development is critical, right? And like I always say this too, like there's different layers of it as well. Like if you're really good at the things that you're doing, personal development can help you be better at it. Like for some people, like you might not think the personal development is helping you, but I have so many examples of people that started it, used it, gave it up, and I see where they went, right? The impact of their decisions, even with the personal development. So for some people, it may be keeping them stable. Like you might be in a good space, or what you consider a good space. You might not understand the consistency of personal development until it's gone and missing from your daily routines. Like I said, and that's why it's so important in this element. Like, and a lot of the people I work with, it's just little small messages. Reevaluate your relationships, right? Like different things like be great today. Like really trying to get them to understand like there's power in them. Like be intentional about your actions. Like I'm really intentional with those messages, and especially with young people, because I know it's critical to their development. We started More Motivation with the pure intention of giving back. Like, right, it was just a pure intention of seeing others get better. Before it even became More Motivation, and I say this all the time as well, doing the work before it's given a title, right? So I would wake up Monday mornings really early, be in the gym, and my mind would just go to improving others. Like it was just improving others. So I would just send out these messages to as many people as I can get to within that hour and 10-minute time frame while I'm at the gym, while I'm working out, in between sets, on a bike. Like I'm sending out messages, blasting them out. And it was just to see others get better. Then it turned into More Motivation. Then it turned to the podcast with the same pure intent. Like, do you understand the power of waking up in the morning and getting into your best space to dominate the day? Like, do you understand the importance? Now, we talked about even taking away the days of the week when you enjoy what you do so much, you don't even know what day it is. Like when you're living a life of pure enjoyment because you loving what you're doing. But for the context of this message, can you imagine starting your week off on a positive note? Like, so Monday morning, receiving that message and getting off to a positive note. Like, that's what we do. Like, that's what more motivation is about. Like, and there's, again, different layers of that part of it as well. There's the motivation part, there's the perspective part, and there's the awareness part. Like, we're intentional about making you better. And I challenge you to check out the podcast. It's so much time that we put into useless things. Spend time on self-improvement. Like, check out that More Motivation podcast. I guarantee you, if you go through each episode with intent and understand, I guarantee you some of the message will motivate you. Some of the messages will inspire you, give you perspective. Some of the messages about awareness. Just think, when we talk about now that you know, that message is about once you receive information, like, you cannot say anymore, oh, I didn't know that. Like, once I give you information, the information is intentional and it should change your behavior, right? When I talk about success does not care about your feelings, that just means, like, there's a world out there that you have not seen, and it's time you got to get up and get after it, no matter how you feel. Like, success don't care if you tired. Success don't care if you sore. Like, you got to get up and get after it. Like, and a lot of those things surround that. They see it on the back of the More Motivation shirts. No excuses. So it's about building you up, right? Self-improvement. And again, when you start applying these different concepts, when you become aware of different things, it just helps you improve your natural skill and help you reach your maximum potential. Listen, one of the is that's a beautiful question that you asked, because we look at it this way, like, because we're so pure with why we do it, we would love to impact as many people as possible, right? We would love for the numbers to be off the charts, but we're not doing this for numbers, right? We're doing it to impact lives. The feedback that we get back from the people that are locked in, that do listen to the messages, like, we got an 8-year-old on board who's locked into these personal development messages, so much so that she's asking teachers and staff at her school, can things like this be implemented? Like, this is real what we do. And when you buy into it, you'll see, listen, people right where you are, I guarantee you, if they've locked into some of the messages, you've seen natural improvement. Some of that improvement could just look like consistency. Before, you saw them as like, oh, they always up and down. Now you see them, they're consistent. You can't beat a person that's consistent. Man, we were seeing adults as well. Like, the message, we got people listening to this at dinner time with their families to get them on the same page. I got people that send this to their kids that play high-level sports, high-level Division I sports, to make sure that their mentals are in the right space to go out there and perform on a high level. Like, all types of people in the work industry, people that have family, like I just told you, family, sports. Like, it complements everything you're doing in all areas if you lock in. So the message is, man, listen, the feedback has been amazing. And just like I said, try it out. Like, don't just, we always say we're looking for things that's going to make us better. We always say we want improvement. Like, try this out. Like, I'm guaranteeing improvement. I'm guaranteeing you, from a perspective standpoint, awareness standpoint, a motivational standpoint, get after it. It'll improve your life just like it improved others. Well, I title it Personal and Player Development because there's one thing to talk about the sport, right? It's one thing to talk about and teach the skill. Like, there's another thing to have lived it, to see what the impact is of decisions, whether you have certain tools and resources or not, before you get there, and then once you get there, and how to sustain that. Like, I'm someone who has lived in those areas. Like, so when we talk about the Division I sports, like, I was once a high school athlete, like dealing with stuff at home, but still having to go out and perform at a high level. Like, I was a recruited athlete, like a highly recruited athlete, going on and playing Division I sports, Division I basketball to be specific. Like, I went through my trials and tribulations, and I know the things that I didn't have at that time. Things that I know if I had these type of segments, these types of motivational speeches, it would have helped me sustain or get through tough times when they came aboard. I had, on the flip side of it, as a collegiate coach, being able to recruit athletes. So I also know it from that side. So when we talk about the personal and player development, we infuse intentionally the personal development pieces into our training sessions. Listen, you might not believe it. The skill is one thing. You can improve that mental aspect of it is far more important when it comes down to getting it done, because those people don't care. Like, that people that's coaching you, people that's recruiting you, once you get there, it's performed. They don't care how you feel. Success don't care about your feelings. It's more important to be in tune with the personal development part more than it is even the physical. Listen, everyone's journey is different, right? The things that you encounter every day are different. This is why personal development is so special, because again, it does not have to do with your particular skill set. It fills the voids of your needs, your individual needs, to help you get things done, to help you get to those meetings that you might miss, to help you perform at a high level in class, to make sure that you're competent in your skills and the things that's required of you when you're at work. Like, making sure that you understand that you need to be in the best space possible for your family to have a high level of success. Like, it infuses itself and it looks different for each individual. And that's why I said, I challenge you, listen to those messages. Overall, they apply to everyone. But you as an individual, you will probably get more out of one of the messages versus the other. Can you imagine listening to the messages about insecurities, not knowing really why you go through these different things today and why you can't be comfortable and happy when dealing with a certain situation, but listening to insecurities, it makes you aware that things in the past probably gave you trauma and you need to understand how to deal with that right now? Like, these are the podcast messages I'm delivering to you. But again, you got to be intentional about that. And I guarantee you, it'll infuse itself right into your daily being, right into your daily life. Now it's about applying it. It's about the application of it once you get the information. But once you do listen to it, you can't say, I didn't know that right now. It's time to do something with it. This is the thing about self-improvement too. And people are afraid to get better. They talk about getting better, but they're afraid of what might happen next. A lot of people are afraid to apply things because they're afraid of what might happen next. It's the next thing that bothers people, right? Because if so, we wouldn't just talk about it. We'll spend just as much time as we do in that idle time. We'll spend just as much time we do in that wasted space on them video games, on that social media, now on self-improvement, which will help you get better. Listen, I just had these conversations with some young people today, and one of the things I said was, I met them for like 10 minutes, and I said, understand this, outside of your family, I naturally care. Like, right, we naturally care on this podcast with our motivation, with our messages. I said, outside of your family, you will never meet a person who in 10 minutes of your time cares about you more than I do. So listening to this message right now, like, you will never, I guarantee it. Like, I'm not talking about your family members. I'm talking about everybody outside of that. Like, that's how much I'm invested in you. Like, you will never meet a person that over this 10 to 15 minute mark of listening to this message that cares about you more than me. right? So I need you to understand that, like, we do this with pure intent, and we challenge you to listen to the messages because we guarantee that it can add value to your life to help you maximize everything you're doing. We love you here for more motivation, and I need you guys to lock in.